for joining us for our Spring 2019 production of Joe Simonelli's The Ghost in the Meadow. In the event that the ghosts get loose or that there is an emergency, there are exits to both sides of the rear of the theatre that you entered through. Please silence any cell phones or personal devices, as a ringing phone during the performance will surely anger the spirits. The undead do not like to be photographed, so please, no flash photography during the production. There will be a 15-minute intermission in the side room, where there will be food and drink and ghosts. But please, no food or drink in the auditorium. We invite you to stay after the performance, where playwright Joe Simonelli will join us for a talkback, where you, the audience, can ask him questions about this evening's performance. We'd now like to invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. But I'm sure the ghosts have something different in mind.
Damn it! Oh, where is it? Oh. Oh, Kylie, you startled me. Can't you make a little noise when you're coming into a room?
I'm sorry. Next time I'll sing an aria. What's your pleasure, Carmen? La da 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 da.
Honey, is she my sister or a stand-up comic?
Well, right now she wishes she were an electrician. Here, take this flashlight, and I'm gonna go check the circuit box. Did you pick up those spare fuses in town like I asked?
Oh, I didn't have time.
Listen, sis, you were the one who wanted to move to the country and into this old relic of a house. I was perfectly content living in the city.
Out here a week and already you're complaining. I knew it. I told you the country might be a good change for the both of us. Besides, it helps get me motivated to paint. And there's something about this house, in this room especially. Can't verbalize it. Just a feeling, really.
Oh, I know that feeling. Kind of hot and clammy. It's called lack of central air conditioning.
Very funny. Make light of it if you want, but I think this place is just what I was looking for. This secluded house, this room with all the natural light. Oh, the minute I walked in here, I was stricken with an impulse to paint. Oh, here it is. I knew I packed one.
You live in Greenwich Village. Isn't that where all of the artistes are supposed to be? Why don't you just show me what you've been working on?
Oh, no. You know I don't like to show you anything till it's finished.
I know. You've told me a million times. So, an old country house in a state of disrepair is your latest muse. What's it do for me?
Gets you out of the rat race and into the nice, fresh country air. Come on, Kyle, don't you remember visiting Nana at Lake Carmel? The old country house, the grass that we used to play in, the beach on the lake, and the old rowboat?
Yeah, the old leaky rowboat. Oh, and remember that television of Nana's? Got about 3 channels.
Oh, and there always seemed to be an old scary mystery or an Alfred Hitchcock special on right before bedtime. Just the tonic to keep 2 impressionable children up at night.
Yeah, I remember.
Well, do you remember that old Meadow in the garage. Woo! Whoa! We got the garage was haunted all summer until Grandpa finally shooed it out. Oh, Kyle, how could you not want to live here?
You know, maybe that was great for a kid who was visiting her Nana for the summer. But now that I'm all grown up, what am I supposed to do here in Hooterville?
You're resourceful. Teach piano or something. There is that old spinet downstairs.
An old out-of-tune spinet with a broken lower C sharp key.
We'll get it repaired.
But what? All we had was our inheritance, most of which we sunk into this dump.
Oh, come on. This place was a bargain, and you know it. None of the other places we looked at were nearly this affordable. Besides, we could easily fix it up and sell it for twice what we paid in a few years. As for immediate cash flow, well, I've got an art show coming up in Chelsea next month. I'm sure I'll sell some paintings.
Oh, great. I hope the peanut butter and jelly supply holds out till then. You know, I really thought I saw spare fuses in one of these drawers before. Probably doesn't even matter. The whole town must be out.
I don't think so. I see a light on in the old church across the meadow. Come look. I swear I heard the bells ring just as the lights went out.
What? The old church house? No, that looks like it's been out of operation for years. I walked by it the other day. It's all boarded up.
Well, there. Do you see it? What? I don't see anything. Well, it's gone dark now.
Oh, come on. Keep looking for those fuses. Oh, yeah, there it is. Ah. So, you, want a cup of tea? I've already put the kettle on.
I'd love one.
Could you open up the window? Hopefully the storm cooled off the temperature outside. You know, we really need to save up for some window units for the bedroom.
Woo! I don't think we'll be needing any once we get a nice country breeze going. I've got men coming.
Ooh, self-service. Things are looking up. Who is it?
Julian,
Oh, the prodigal boyfriend. Still on a break.
he's on probation.
Oh, really? Isn't that being a bit cavalier considering the circumstances?
Hello, Julian.
Tell him I said hello. Out of here. I'll be right back with the tea.
How are you? How are things in Manhattan South? Did you get that promotion yet? Still pending, huh? Well, they'll come around. I know how important it is to you. I don't know when I'll be back in town again. For heaven's sake, we just moved out here. No, Jules, it isn't anything like Green Acres. Yes, there's indoor plumbing. Kylie's fine. She says hello. I will. Well, then maybe you should come out here and visit us. Well, I guess you know I miss you, but we both agreed we needed a break, right? So I moved out to the country. It isn't that far away. Okay. You can come up. But no sex. Oh, well, I know sex is your second most favorite thing to do. You'll just have to do your first most favorite. Watch the Yankees? Yes, we have a TV. And electricity. Okay. I will see you tomorrow afternoon. And, Jules, bring your toolbox. This place is falling apart. Hey, you, young man! What are you doing out there? Kylie!
Oh my God, you're being ridiculous. Shut up.
I'm telling you, I saw something out that window.
It was probably a deer or something.
Oh, I know the difference between a deer and a little boy. And even if it was a deer, which it wasn't, how could it just disappear like that?
You know, I think it was probably that wine you had after dinner.
Oh my God, it was one glass of wine, not a pint of Southern Comfort. One glass is fine, all the books say so.
Really? And all the books I've read say we're 3 miles from the nearest house, and no kid is going to be wandering around in a thunderstorm at this time of night.
I'm telling you, he was there, and then he wasn't. He just disappeared.
All right, so yeah, it gets misty out on the meadow. Maybe he just walked into a fog bank. Oh my God! Now you even have me admitting you saw a kid.
That's because I did see one.
All right, come on. We're gonna grab some flashlights and we're gonna take a look around out there ourselves.
No. I am not going out there.
Well then, what do you suggest?
Oh no. Call the police.
Tell them what, Sheila? Some kid was walking across our lawn? What are they going to do, arrest him for trespassing? We just moved to this community. We don't need the locals thinking that we're the newly arrived lunatics from New York City.
Hey, I know what I saw.
All right. You just moved to an old country house with faulty wiring, and it's the first stormy night of the summer. Of course you thought you might have seen something.
Oh God, what was that? Is the front door locked?
Yes, the door's locked.
Well, then what was that noise?
No, it's an old house. It could be anything. Like a window shutter slamming or the screen door in the kitchen.
Or a hoot owl in the garage?
God, you're a grown woman. Stop it already. Oh, damn it. Seriously?
Oh, God, in the window!
What the hell? Oh my God, really? There's nothing there.
I'm telling you, someone was at that window.
We're on the second floor. Who did you see? Batman?
Oh, this is no laughing matter. Something went past that window.
I'm telling you, there's nothing there. Listen, you're just nervous because you just found out.
It has nothing to do with that.
Okay. Come on.
Where to?
Well, I can tell neither of us is going to get any rest tonight until this matter is resolved. So, we're going to search this house inside and out together.
Fine. Let's do it then.
Fine. What did Julian have to say, by the way?
He's coming up tomorrow to visit for the weekend.
Good. Maybe he can talk some sense into you. Go. Go.
Julian. Why do people love to sneak up on me lately?
I didn't mean to startle you, sexy. And Kylie said you were all worked up about something you thought you might have seen last night, but I didn't think you'd be this jumpy.
Did you hear that?
Hear what?
Oh, never mind. I'm actually really glad you're here.
At your service.
No. We are keeping it platonic.
That's right. Kylie told me you put me on probation, and to think, I haven't been on probation since I was a cadet. My rookie year on the police force. Couldn't you just tie me up? I brought my handcuffs.
Always the comedian.
Isn't that what you used to love about me?
Yes, in small doses. Believe me, the doses are shrinking every day. But it is good to see you.
Good to see you too, babe. What are you working on?
Oh, no. You know the rules.
Yeah, I know the rules.
What did I say? Social visit.
Wow, we're really sticking to your guns on this one. I'm impressed. Okay, social visit. How about a social drink then? You still drink single malt, don't you?
Yes. But
that's when I really fell in love with you.
But you found out I was a scotch drinker?
No, when I found out you could drink me under the table. And your love of jazz. Like me, you know that always put us in the mood.
Manners joking. Yeah, so where's your suitcase? Did pack more than just a bottle of scotch, didn't you?
Do I really need more than that? My suitcase is downstairs.
Great. Why don't you go get it and put it in my room? Second floor, down the hall near the bathroom.
Now you're talking.
You sleep in my room, I sleep in here. This used to be a guest room until I converted it into a studio. The couch is very comfortable.
I wouldn't want to put you out. I'll stay in here.
You're not putting me out. Besides, sometimes I like to get up early, and I wouldn't want to disturb you if you were still asleep in here.
But why should you have to stay in here when I...
Jules.
Still as stubborn as ever, I see.
Oh, I'm the stubborn one? Mr. I'm not retiring from the police force until I get my lieutenant shield. Can't just be satisfied being a detective sergeant.
I wish I were a good enough detective to figure out what you're running away from.
Who says I'm running away from anything?
Okay, then what you're running to.
For the life of me, I don't know what you're talking about.
Come on, Shield. We had a good thing going in the city, remember? We were the fun couple.
Yeah. Got some warped perception of fun.
I'm trying to be serious. You know how I feel about you. And you told me you felt the same way.
You! Being serious! That's a good one. Anyway, I told you, I just need some space. This is all just like an adventure to me.
Seems more like you're looking for a new start.
Right. I moved out to Lower Dog Patch for the social life and dating scene. Is that what you think?
To be honest, I don't know what to think.
Well, I think you need to relax. I'm only about a 3-hour drive from New York City. It's not like I moved to Tibet or something. And I do appreciate you coming up here to visit and help out. It shows that you care.
And that I have your back?
Yes, that too.
Besides, we can't break up. You're the only one who laughs at my dopey jokes.
I think now we're getting to the crux of the problem.
And that would be?
Your constant joking all the time? You can never tell when you're being serious or not. Oh, wait. You shouldn't be a cop. You should be a stand-up comic.
That's not fair, Shield. You know I use the humor to deal with the crap I see on a daily basis. After drug overdoses and murder scenes, you need a little relief from stress when you get home.
That isn't the only way you deal with stress.
What are you implying?
I'll figure it out.
Oh, look at you two. Nothing I like better than a happy reconciliation. Reminiscing? Makeup sex?
That won't be happening this weekend.
Let's not give up hope. It is only Friday.
Who wants some wine?
I'm gonna pass.
Turning over a new leaf now that you're out in the country?
In more ways than one.
Kyle!
Well, I brought the hard stuff, but maybe I'll start off slow. Pour away.
So, Julian, to what do we owe the pleasure?
I was just in the neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
It's strictly a social visit.
Come on. You know you can't resist me.
Oh, don't worry, I'll practice.
Oh, Shield, give the poor guy a break. He drove all this way to see you, and he brought his toolbox.
Oh, he also brought his libido.
Although, sadly, I will admit I've had more luck with my toolbox lately. Which, for you two ladies, is a very good thing. Fixing this place could be a lifelong commitment.
Oh, Now he's talking about commitment.
Yeah, I thought that word was foreign to most men.
No jokes. I also brought my gun. Just how old is this place anyway?
Pre-Civil War?
Looks it. Well, enough of that for now. Tell me more about the drama.
And, what drama might that be?
Something you thought you saw out the window last night? Is this the one?
That's it.
Interesting.
What is?
Well, there are scratch marks on the outside.
Wait, let me see. No,
Oh yeah, look at that.
Here and here.
That's not possible.
Why not?
Because I washed the window and the sill yesterday, and there was nothing here anywhere.
Yeah, well, seeing is believing.
An animal?
I doubt it. The marks are too wide. I hate to say it, it doesn't really seem rational, but...
But what?
Well, I've investigated enough burglaries in my day. In my humble opinion, I would say that you have a cat burglar.
I'm sorry, what? You're kidding. You're saying that these marks are from a human hand.
A small human hand, yes. Or perhaps a primate, but I doubt you have many monkeys running around up here. Do you?
Could a little boy have made them?
It doesn't seem rational. You're on the second floor.
Well, why not? The house is covered with strong wood lattice and vines. I mean, somebody could easily climb up. You know, Kylie, we really should think about ripping it all off and residing the outside, you know.
Oh, sure, Sheila. With what money? And what do we cut out? The peanut butter or the jelly?
They did build these houses to last in those days, and I suppose if I wanted to gain entrance to this place, that's the window I would use.
Why?
Well, you're on the far wing of the house, secluded from the other two bedrooms and the bathroom by a long hallway. And that ledge would make it really convenient if you wanted to rob the place.
So, what you're saying is someone could have climbed the lattice.
I suppose it's possible. Why?
She's convinced she saw a little boy run around our lawn in the middle of a thunderstorm last night.
What would a kid be doing outside in the middle of a storm?
Exactly.
I'm telling you, I know what I saw. And you both saw the scratch marks on the sill. Whoa!
Gotcha. It's okay.
You gotta be more careful, Sheila. You lost your balance.
Lost my balance like hell. Something just pushed me.
What?
Oh, stop it.
I'm telling you, something just tried to push me out that window.
Okay, whatever you say.
Don't patronize me, Kylie. I'm not some dramatic schoolgirl.
Calm down, Shield. I'm sure Kylie didn't mean anything by it. She's just trying to understand.
Of course. I mean, maybe you just got dizzy.
I did not get dizzy.
Maybe it was a gust of wind.
A gust of wind? From where?
The attic, perhaps? I mean, it's happened before.
Is this the door?
It is indeed, Detective. Don't even bother. It's locked from the inside.
How'd that happen?
Let's see. I was going up there yesterday with some boxes, and a window was open. A gust of wind came through and slammed the door shut behind me just as I came back down in here.
Makes sense. It's an old house. I'm sure there are tons of drafts. It's a wonder that more doors don't slam shut more often. Where's the key?
There is no key, and all of my extra art supplies are up there, as well as my blank canvases.
I'm sure there is a key. I just need to contact the realtor. If not, I'll get a locksmith to come up.
Well, I could always have a crack at getting it open, although I am hardly fond of old country attics.
Really? Why's that?
It's gonna sound crazy.
I already know the story, Jules. You might as well fill her in on it.
Story?
An old ghost story.
Right. Ooh. Maybe it'll top Sheila's story about the little ghost boy in the meadow
You're not
outside.
funny, Kyle.
I've never told anyone but Sheila this story before. It's not really something you want getting out.
Well, now you gotta tell me, Jules.
If you insist. When I was a kid, I don't know, like 10 or 12, I was out visiting this friend of mine on Long Island. My friend's father was pretty well off, and they had this huge house. Had to be 8 bedrooms, and there were at least 10 kids in the family. Anyway, it was summertime, and my friend and his family were at their summer home, the beach. My friend used to come back every couple of weeks to cut the grass, and it was just me, him, and his older sister who had driven us, all alone in this big, empty house. There was a room in the attic, and that's where me and my friend decided we were going to stay. 8 empty bedrooms, and we chose to sleep in the attic. Of course, the older sister just had to tell us the story of their elderly great-uncle Pete, who lived in that room until the day he died. About how they heard footsteps up there ever since. Hold on, making the rounds.
So, did old Unc show up that night?
Oh, we heard noises all right. Knocking and moaning coming from the door. Obviously my friend's sister trying to scare us. But when we tried to confront her, she had locked us in.
Locked you in? How cruel. Wait. It gets weirder. Weirder? How?
She never returned to let us out the next morning.
What? Why? What happened?
Well, we woke up and tried to get her attention, but after a while we started getting desperate. That's when we called out to the neighbor who had just come outside to do some gardening. He rang the doorbell, but still nothing. Eventually, my friend told him where the spare key was to the back door. And he came in and let us out.
Well, what happened to the sister?
No one knows. My friend called his parents, and we all searched the house high and low, even the neighbor. Her car was still in the driveway. Her keys and her purse still on the bureau. The bed remained unmade, just as she had slept in it.
Only no sister. Right, Jules?
That's right. No sister. A missing persons report was filed, and the police searched the area for weeks. Eventually, the case turned cold, and after that summer, me and my friends stopped talking about it. And after a while, me and my friends stopped talking completely, but it's never stopped bothering me.
Oh, Julian, that's awful. I feel so bad for you.
That's not the end of the story. Tell her about the dreams, Jules.
They're not dreams. They're nightmares about that night. I'm standing in front of the house, and I know I shouldn't go in because the place is haunted. I don't even believe in the supernatural, but in my dream, I know this place is haunted. And as I go inside and get to the attic door, I look up the steps, and that's when it really hits me.
What does?
That feeling of dread, that icy cold feeling that makes your skin crawl. I know I shouldn't go in the house, but I'm compelled to. You know how dreams are. And as I stare up the attic stairs and start to climb, I hear the sister's voice calling to me, begging me to help.
Well, then what happens? He doesn't know because in the dream he never goes in. always told me.
She's right. I always wake up before I go into the attic.
Well. I've been sufficiently spooked for one night. Although I would like to know more of the history of this house. I think I'll go into the town library tomorrow and see what I can dig up.
That sounds like a great plan. Maybe Sheila would be kind enough to show me the sights tomorrow. After which I'll get started on that door.
And what am I supposed to do while you're working on the door?
Paint like always.
And stay away from open windows. At least on the second floor.
Sure, make a joke out of it.
Well, I'm not entirely sure he was joking. Were you?
Well, you did almost fall out, whether it was a gust of wind or a dizzy spell.
It was neither, and I'm getting awfully tired, so I think it's best if I grab a book and turn in.
No problem, Sheil. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna go downstairs and see if I can catch an old movie on TV. Care to join, Jules?
An old ghost story.
I'd love to. Are you sure you want to stay in here tonight? After everything that you said, it sounds more like you'd rather stay in your room. I can stay in here if you want.
Ooh, so close to the attic, Julian.
Thanks, but no thanks. I'm not about to be put out of my own house. And if there is a ghost, well, they best steer clear. I don't scare as easily as you may think. Remember, I worked for the New York City DMV for 2 years.
Fine. Be stubborn. But do me a favor and leave the door open. I'll be right down the hall if you need.
Come on, Jewel. Grab the wine. Let's see what's on.
Maybe you'll play me a tune on the piano first. Up for a duet?
Why not?
Remember, leave it open. be.
Oh, Hannah, why were you screaming?
The door swung open and a woman stood there.
It's still locked.
I'm telling you, she was standing right here. Oh, you both think I'm crazy, don't you?
No. Of course not. I heard the piano too, remember?
You're sure this door was open and someone was standing right here?
Oh, why would I lie about something like that?
Well, I mean, in your condition.
What condition?
It's nothing. I just haven't been feeling very well lately, that's all.
It must be all the fresh country air. Your body's too used to the New York City soot. Right, Kylie?
Well, yeah, I don't want to get involved with your little tip with Sheil.
There's no tip at all, is there, Sheila?
Certainly not. So, Kylie, since when were you one to mind your own business?
Whoa, what's that supposed to mean?
Oh, you know exactly what I mean. Ever since Mom and Dad died, it's like you've been trying to run my life or something.
I most certainly have not, unless that means me having to support you while you're trying to get your art career off the ground.
Whoa. What is going on here? I've never known you two to argue like this.
Maybe you're right, Jules. Maybe this move to the country is getting on our nerves.
As well as other things.
All right, well, there's nothing we can do about it tonight. I say we use what's left of the night and try and get some rest. We'll come back at it with fresh heads tomorrow. Kylie, maybe Sheila could stay with you in your room for the rest of the night.
How about it, Sheil? It'll be just like when we were kids at Nana's in the old country house.
Sure. I've had enough of this room tonight anyways.
Well, this room can be rather creepy in the middle of the night.
Creepy? Have you heard nothing I've said?
How can I? I deal in facts.
Huh. How about the fact that the piano was just playing downstairs by itself?
We probably left the television on.
Yeah, no. I remember shutting the television off.
Right, well, it's an old house with old wiring. A power surge must have turned it back on.
Really, Jules? A power surge? Now who's being ridiculous?
You know, Jules, I mean, the piano music kind of gave me the creeps too.
Look, there is something strange happening in this house. And it's not the faulty wiring, or a thunderstorm, or a gust of wind. Now either you believe me, or you don't.
I'll tell you what. I don't put much credence in this kind of thing. But there is someone the NYPD uses to help them solve cold cases. I'll give her a call and see if I can get her up here tomorrow.
Thank you, Julian.
to bore the lock out, but I didn't bring a drill. You don't happen to have one, do you?
No, but the previous occupants left some tools in the basement. You might find one there.
I'll go take a look.
Wait! Can't you, stay and keep me company a little while longer? At least until Kylie gets back from town.
Still a little nervous, huh? Here, come sit with me. I wanted to thank you for showing me around town today.
And I wanted to thank you for taking me out to lunch.
Oh, that was my pleasure. It's a shame Kylie couldn't join us.
Well, she planned on it, but she called to say that the research she was doing on the house was taking a little longer than she expected. And she wanted to get some groceries while she was out, too.
I hope she brought enough for 4. Antoinette will be arriving soon, and she'll probably want to stay the night.
Is that the person you mentioned?
Yes, it is. She supposedly has psychic ability. She's been written up in a number of trade magazines and helped police forces around the country solve cold cases. She broke one really tough one down south in South Carolina about 20 years back, the Sandra Brown case.
What was the Sandra Brown case?
It was a really tough murder case about 20 years ago down south. The sheriff had absolutely no leads, and they called Antoinette in. A few days later, they caught the perps.
Well, if she's that good, I'll definitely look forward to meeting her.
Bring home.
Antoinette,
Who's Antoinette?
the paranormal investigator that Jules was able to get. She should be arriving any minute.
Oh, wonderful. We can make a party of it. After what I found in the library, could be quite an evening.
What have you got?
Well, it's very interesting. It seems that this house has its own ghostly legend, the Forsaken Boy.
Really?
Oh, what did I tell you? Let's hear it.
All right. Apparently, according to some old newspaper articles I read, what I found online, and the gossip that the old librarian told me, it all started during the Civil War. This house was built shortly before then, and the old church house across the meadow had already been there a number of years. The house was owned by a farmer who was drafted into the war. He was killed in the Battle of Gettysburg, leaving behind his 2 preteen daughters in the care of their stepmother, Catherine. And according to accounts, she was not the nicest of people.
How so?
Well, to make extra income after her husband died, she rented out the 2 second-floor bedrooms to gentlemen boarders and moved the girls to this room. She slept upstairs in the attic. She didn't treat her stepdaughters very well.
And I suppose child services weren't invented at the time.
Oh, on the contrary, that was called an orphanage. That old church across the meadow served as one during the Civil War.
An orphanage?
Yeah, no, more about that later. Now, here's the real tidbit, Sheil. The stepmother?
Catherine.
Yeah, Catherine. She was also a piano teacher.
Stop.
Yeah. Gave lessons to the townsfolk and their children. She apparently was quite passionate about it and very accomplished.
I wonder, why would such a passionate musician, especially one who spends so much time with children, have the reputation of being so mean to her own stepdaughters?
Perhaps she was frustrated with her own circumstances. Who knows?
Well, what about that kid you mentioned? What'd you call him, the Forsaken Boy?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, during the war, the church house doubled as an orphanage. With the high mortality rate of the soldiers, the wives left at home couldn't afford to keep their children. Suffice it to say, conditions in an orphanage, even one run by a church, were not exactly ideal.
Think Oliver Twist.
Exactly. In any event, one of the little boys named Adam Campbell, about 8 years old, escaped from the orphanage and ran across the meadow to this house. Now, Catherine's stepdaughters were twins named Ellen and Elizabeth. They took pity on the boy and used to play with him here in this room. Now, the legend says it was the dead of winter and an extremely cold night when the orphanage discovered him missing and were tipped off that he was being sheltered in this house. They used to ring the church bells when a child went missing. Now, Catherine was at the church visiting a friend when she learned of this fact. It seems as if she was carrying on with the minister who used to supply her with her boarders. And not wishing to be embarrassed, she immediately returned to investigate. Now, the girls were playing with the boy when she returned and knocked on the hallway door. They quickly hid the boy out on the balcony and told him to stay quiet until all was clear.
pastor, well, they can be charismatic.
Out on the balcony in the cold? The poor thing.
Well, the stepmother searched the room in the upstairs attic to no avail. And unfortunately for the little boy, she made the girls go downstairs into the kitchen for further interrogation.
An interrogation? That lasted how long?
Not sure, but it must have been a while, for as soon as the girls were able to come back to the room, they looked out on the balcony and he was nowhere to be found. And when they looked down, they found his limp body lying next to the bushes. The stepmother never lived down the humiliation, and thereafter she treated the girls even worse than before. She forced them to stay in this room almost 24 hours a day, and she locked them in from the outside and carried the only key. Finally, a year to the day after the boy's death, she let the girls have a reprieve and go to town for the day. And she was here alone in the house washing that window. And when the girls returned from town, they found their stepmother dead outside, lying next to the very same bush where the boy had been found.
Slipped and fell, apparently.
Slipped, or was pushed.
Pushed by whom? You said she was alone in the house.
Precisely.
And the legend of the forsaken boy.
Well, when they found the boy, he was so cold that his skin had turned blue. The legend says that he'll appear to people outside this house looking for a way to get in to stay warm.
Oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
What's the matter, Sheila? Kylie said it was just a legend.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the painting. Look at the painting.
Well, let's have a look.
I started that painting a week ago. The minute I set up that easel, the image just popped into my head.
Interesting, but probably just a coincidence.
Coincidence, Detective Shaw. After all the cases I helped your department solve, and you're still not allowing for extraordinary circumstances.
No need to be so formal. Call me Julian. Well, here she is now, our guest of honor. Ladies, I would like to introduce you to Antoinette Owens, psychic extraordinaire.
Pleasure.
I hope you don't mind. The front door was open, and I heard your voices up here.
It's not a problem. It's good to meet you.
Your hand. It's so cold, dear.
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I just had a bit of a shock.
Oh, understandable from what I glean of the conversation I heard.
How much did you hear?
Something about a recent painting and a coincidence.
Well, should we fill you in on the rest?
Of course. I'm a psychic, not a mind reader. But I would like to get settled in first, if you don't mind.
Oh, of course. Let me show you to your room. You'll be staying in my room, and I'll stay in here with Sheol.
Where does this floor lead?
To the attic. Don't bother, it's locked.
Good. Best to keep it that way for now.
Why?
I just don't like the feeling I'm getting from that room. You. Fill me in on the details of the house while I'm unpacking.
Of course, I'll be right with you. My room is just down the
I
hall.
know where it is.
So, what do you think of Antoinette?
Seems like a barrel of laughs.
Oh, you doubt her psychic abilities?
Oh, come on, don't you? I just don't like the feeling I'm getting from that room. Come on, Jules, you're the biggest pragmatist I know. No nonsense detective. Just the facts, ma'am.
Can't say I disagree with you. It's hard to build a credible case without hard evidence. But what I do know is my colleague in missing persons says Antoinette has proven herself a number of times.
Jules, I don't think you brought her here so much to disprove what's going on than to prove it.
I brought her here to help. Plain and simple.
Well, I'd better go show our guests around and fill her in. It's gonna be a very interesting evening.
You know what I think? I think you and your sister should put this place up for sale and move back civilization.
Ah, great idea. And where would we live? I sublet the apartment, remember?
You could move in with me.
You just never stop trying, do you? Did you ever figure out why you wanted me to move in with you in the first place? Your cat didn't die, did it? Besides me, that's the longest relationship you've ever had.
Now look who's joking.
And what do we do about Kylie? Send her on a trip abroad?
Well, she's got friends. What about that teacher friend of hers? Melissa?
They tried it once. Didn't end well.
That's right. Forgot. Enough said.
Yeah, so it looks like we're stuck here, so we might as well make the best of it. Ghost or no ghost.
You know, if there is something going on here, and I'm not saying
So
that
what are you trying to say?
Well, it might explain why the place was such a bargain. What were the previous owners like?
Well, we bought it from an estate. I think it was rented out a few times, but only for short durations. I spoke to the realtor about it, but now that you mention it, she was pretty evasive about it all.
Makes sense. Wouldn't want to jeopardize the sale.
My guess is they were frightened away.
You know, if someone were haunting my apartment, I'd make them pay half the rent.
Oh, great idea. And if they refused?
I don't know. I'd probably threaten to kill myself and then kick their ass.
I wouldn't joke around about such things, especially in this house.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be so callous, but even if there are restless earthbound spirits, they certainly don't have the power to harm us.
How can you be so sure? They have enough energy to move inanimate objects around. I investigated a case where bricks were tossed about an abandoned prison. In the 1970s in Enfield, England, an entire family was terrorized for 14 months by a poltergeist who threw furniture around the room and threw children's toys. And a 12-year-old girl was almost strangled by her own bedroom curtain.
You can't be serious.
Oh, I am, Julian. As a matter of fact, there was a police constable called to the scene, signed a sworn statement saying that she had seen a large wing chair move 4 feet across the room unassisted, followed by a kitchen table overturning all by itself. Now, why would a police officer put her reputation on the line if it wasn't true?
And what about Sheila almost getting pushed from that window?
Really, when did that occur?
Yesterday? And then last night when the door flung open and I saw a woman standing.
That's right, your sister told me about that. And the piano music in the middle of the night.
Okay, so what's the plan?
Well, from what I've been told and what I can sense, most of the energy seems to be emanating from this room in the attic. Until I have access, I won't know what's happening up there. You said this door opened once before. Well, maybe it will open again. So the plan is I sleep in this room tonight till I can find out what's happening.
Maybe we could join you. I sure would like to figure out what's going on here, too.
I would certainly like some answers as to what's going on in this house.
Well, you can count me out. I had enough excitement last night. So I'm going to stay in my room down the hall, and I think you should too, Sheol.
Oh, I'll be just fine.
On the
Mother-
contrary, I believe your sister is an important catalyst for everything that's been going on so far. It might not be a bad idea to have her present.
But I thought you said it could be dangerous.
Oh, come on, Jules. Crossing the street in New York City is dangerous.
I will be sensitive to any real danger, but I want you to steer clear of that window from now on.
Well, you 3 have your little ghost hunt. I want no part of it. The longer I stay in this house, the more I start to dread it. And it's not just because of the ghosts.
Wonder what's gotten into her.
Nothing's gotten into her. She's always been really overprotective of me. You know that. She just doesn't want me getting hurt, that's all.
Yeah, if you insist.
Well, I suppose we should settle in.
So, what exactly are we supposed to do? Ask anonymous questions like the cable television shows?
You can if you want to, but I have a feeling that whatever is here means to make its presence known without much prompting. So just do whatever you normally do. Read a book, go on the computer. Maybe you could finish that painting, dear.
Oh, no. I don't think I could finish with that painting. Not after what I learned today.
Well, suit yourself.
Antoinette, can I ask you something?
You want to know how I wound up in this line of work? I get that question all the time.
Well, yes, actually.
Well, you see, I realized I had a gift at a very early age. I was about 5 years old when I started trumping my parents at bridge. I just had a strong premonition about the cards they were holding.
And about that case you solved. The one in the cell.
What case would that be?
I think she's referring to the Sandra Brown case.
Oh, I see. You spilled the beans, Julian?
Well, I have been told that the details of that case, or rather not knowing them, have always intrigued the boys from Manhattan South.
Well, I don't really like to talk about that one, if you don't mind.
I'm sorry, but it is the one you're known for.
Try that door again, Julian.
Oh my God! It's still locked. You know, I could always just take it off the hinges or bore out the lock.
Oh, but that would spoil the fun, wouldn't it?
As well as upset who or what is up there.
I changed my mind. I don't want to stay down the hall by myself.
Welcome back.
What's the matter, Kylie? A little nervous?
Maybe, or maybe I'm just frustrated and bored. So, did I miss anything exciting?
Oh, we were just trying to coax Antoinette into telling us her famous case. But other than that...
You're all dead set on hearing it, aren't you?
Not exactly the words I would have chosen,
You know,
but I know I've always been curious about the facts.
there's a reason that I don't like to talk about this one. The details of the crime are fairly grisly. But considering what I sense and what Kylie has told me, maybe there'll be some significance in retelling it.
Oh, we are all ears.
All right. It was one of my first cases, about 20 years ago. It's a small town in South Carolina. Sandra Brown was about 13 years old, the daughter of a local minister. Actually, she's very close with her grandfather, who founded the ministry years earlier. He died tragically in a hunting accident in the woods near the church and the rectory where they all lived. Those same woods that Sandra would use as a shortcut to school. Well, she was late coming home one night, and two drunken lowlifes followed her into the woods, where they brutally beat her, raped her, and left her for dead. 13. Well, the local authorities didn't have any possible suspects on the case for months. It was, I don't know, a year later, when they finally decided to call me as a last resort. They had heard I had had some success in other cases. When I got to the hospital room, Sandra was still in a coma. The lead detective on the case left me alone with her for a few minutes, and when he came back in, I was able to tell him that the weapon used was a small club and that it was hidden in a tree stump further on in the woods. They were able to lift some fingerprints and match up the suspects. Sandra died later that afternoon.
Wait, how did you know what the murder weapon was? You said that she was in a coma.
Her grandfather told me.
I thought you said the grandfather was dead.
I did, didn't I? Nevertheless, he was standing vigil beside the hospital bed. You see, the attack had happened not far from where he himself was killed. And he told me about the weapon. And I informed the authorities.
Sounds like a pretty incredible story to me.
Credible enough to put two criminals away for life.
Agreed, but the practical cop in me is having a hard time with it.
Why?
Maybe if Jules justified it, he'd have to admit that there are unexplained things. Personal demons that he'd have to face and accept, no matter how frightening they may be.
Oh, I have a hard time believing that Julian would be frightened of anything.
Except for maybe addicts.
Really?
reoccurring childhood dream. Nothing significant.
Oh, I think you might find many things are significant.
It is interesting, though. A child in peril in the Sandra Brown case and a child in peril in this house. Antoinette, do you think it's more than a mere coincidence that you've been brought here?
I don't really believe in coincidence, but I do think you have brought up a key point. There is a reason we have all been brought to this house together. Me and my involvement with children in peril, your sister, her love of piano music, same as Catherine's, and Julian and his dream of an attic. Well, it all lies right there beyond that door.
And what about me? What's my connection?
Don't you know, dear? I think in time you'll be able to figure it out. There are no hard and fast rules when dealing with the supernatural. What works in some cases may not work in others. But from what I can tell, most of the energy has been emanating around you, which is something we must monitor carefully. In any event, we may have our answers soon enough.
Perhaps tonight?
Yeah, or perhaps never.
For the present, all we can do is just sit and wait.
Well, you don't think whoever's around will mind if I have a drink while we wait?
Oh, I doubt the spirits would mind the spirits.
Anyone care to join me?
I never drink on the job.
Yeah, I'll pass also.
Looks like you're all alone, Julian. Bottoms up.
Never argue with a lady. So, Antoinette, you didn't happen to see any sexy female ghosts on your way in, did you? You know, about 5'6", blonde hair, blue eyes. Well, I don't seem to be getting anywhere with you.
You've got a point there.
I would be careful what you wish for, Julian, or a succubus might visit you one night.
A sucky what?
A female sex-craved spirit who attacks men while they sleep.
Oh, you gotta tell me where this chick hangs out.
It's nothing to joke about, Julian. There are many documented cases of both the succubus and the incubus. As a matter of fact, a research team on the campus of Stanford University actually recorded a co-ed being attacked every night for 3 weeks.
And they didn't just prove it was a sleep disorder?
Come on, Julian! Lay down your denial! Skepticism is the worst offense against the paranormal. You called me here, remember? You and I both know there could be something otherworldly going on here. Something far more sinister than just a restless spirit.
Well, care to expand on that?
Calm down, Kylie. I'm sure Antoinette doesn't mean to frighten us.
Oh, on the contrary, maybe I did, but I don't think Julian is convinced yet.
Sorry, it must be the practical detective coming out again. And I've never been this close to the situation before.
Jules, am I sensing you may just be as nervous as the rest of us?
Well, even big tough detectives have a right to be nervous sometimes.
Nervous is a bit strong. Let's just call it apprehensive.
I guess the unknown makes us all a little apprehensive.
Well, if it didn't, I'd be out of a job.
And, so we sit and wait?
We sit and wait.
What is it?
The bells are ringing. Kylie said the church was boarded up, but the bells are ringing.
Perhaps it's another church.
Oh, the only other church is miles away in town.
You're out in the country now. Sound travels farther out here. There's no obstructions to block it.
But why would the bells be ringing at this time of night?
Didn't your sister mention that they used to ring the church bells when an orphan went missing from the orphanage during the Civil War?
Oh, yes, she did. Where is she, anyways?
Oh, she's back in her room. She decided that her bed would be more comfortable than the floor.
Well, it can be hard to get a good night's sleep around this place. Anyone care to join me?
Now, I had a bad experience with scotch once when I was 35. Worst hangover ever. I haven't touched a drop since.
Sheil,
No, thanks.
has hell frozen over? You never turn down single malts.
At 2 a.m., I'm usually finishing off a bottle, not starting one.
Suit yourself. Cheers.
Antoinette, does anything ever frighten you? I mean, you've been doing this so long, it must be like second nature to you by now.
I think that if I were camping and I came across a hungry grizzly bear in the woods, I'd be apt to be frightened.
No. I mean, regarding the supernatural, maybe when you were a child and you first started noticing things, were you frightened then?
Well, it's hard to say because I started experiencing it at such an early age. I thought it was normal. I'd see images and I thought everyone else was seeing them too.
But you had to notice that they were somehow different from living people.
I mean, sure, some of them were translucent, but for the most part, they were full-bodied or normal as you and me. I used to call them my shadow people. I think my mother just thought they were my imaginary friends.
Or aliens, perhaps?
Aliens?
Yes, Julian. Aliens and demons are often mistaken for one another. I'm just not one who subscribes to the alien point of view.
Wait. You don't believe in aliens?
Oh, I most certainly do believe there is alien life form out there somewhere. I just don't subscribe to the notion that they have visited our planet already.
Why not?
Well, first of all, if they had the capabilities, it stands to reason that they would be far more advanced and that their visit would not be accidental. In my experience, when someone or something sets out for a particular destination in mind, they might have an agenda which might not be benevolent. These alien seekers and scientists who put out beacons and signals may just be playing with fire if whatever is out there decides to take them up on their invitation. Kind of like chumming for sharks in the middle of an ocean when you're floating in an inner tube.
You mentioned demons earlier. What's the difference between a ghost and a demon?
Demons will typically possess a human being, while ghosts are typically will haunt a familiar surroundings.
Such as a house they used to live in?
Typically, yeah.
Parallel universes. I've heard ghosts explained away by that phenomenon.
Parallel what?
Universes, Julian. There's a quantum physics formula that espouses black holes and time travel, and that we might be living in more than one universe simultaneously. So that when we see something out of the ordinary, what we might actually be witnessing is another universe where we lead different lives under separate circumstances.
So, what you're telling me right now is in a parallel universe, I could be hooked up with a supermodel?
Oh my God. Well, I suppose there are gullible women in every universe, Julian.
Ouch.
Quantum physics, black holes, parallel universes, this all just doesn't make any sense to me. Can't we just go back to believing in ghosts?
Or demons?
Let's hope that's not the case here. As I alluded to earlier, The restless dead might just be looking for a way on to the next level, whereas typical methods may not work on demons intent on staying.
Whoa, what was that?
Coming from the attic.
A trapped squirrel, perhaps?
That's not a squirrel.
It's open.
I guess I'm going up there.
Maybe we should all go up then.
No, I want you to stay here. Julian, I left my tape recorder in my room. It's on the dresser. Would you get it for me, please?
Yeah, I'll meet you up there in a minute.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, Antoinette. Are you sure you want to go up there? What if there is something up there?
Well, that's what I'm here for, isn't it? Oh, listen, don't worry. Whoever or whatever is up there, there is no one more qualified than I am to take care of it.
Don't worry, Sheila. Apparently, Antoinette's an old hand at this.
Just doesn't make any sense. Why is this all happening? Why here? Why now?
Look, nothing has happened yet. So far, it's just a noise from the attic. It could turn out to be anything.
Riley? What's wrong?
I saw the boy at a gamble. I saw him out my bedroom window.
No, stop.
Are you okay? Hey, here, sit down, sit down. Are you okay? All right, tell us what happened.
Well, I was woken up by church bells, and when I sat in the bed, I thought I heard a voice coming from down the hall.
Yeah, but the only room down the hall is this one.
Yeah, and at first I thought it was you or Julian, but then when I got closer to the doorway, it sounded more like a mumbling or a chanting.
Could you tell what it was saying?
No, it wasn't English, and I was too scared to go into the hallway, so I backed away from the door, and I ended up by my bedroom window. And when I looked out into the meadow, that's when I saw him. Oh, Sheila, he had such a pitiful and horrified look on his face. He was so lost. Where are you going?
I was just gonna have a look.
Oh, please don't go near the window.
What happens up there?
It was left a note, or rather it was thrown at me.
Licentia Domus?
What language is that?
Latin, I think.
It is Latin. It says, leave this house. We should all leave this house immediately. There is definitely a presence here. And this is a battle that we can't win.
What is it? Is it Catherine?
I don't know. But it's a presence and it is evil. Make no mistake about it. I've never felt anything so strong before. I've got to get out of this house.
Oh, wait, Antoinette, you can't just leave and expect us to take care of this by ourselves.
I'm sorry, but I have to leave, at least for a little while, and I suggest you all do the same.
Yeah, but what about what you said about the child in peril? Are you just gonna leave him to the mercy?
I don't know that there is a child present here. The malevolence is so strong.
I saw a boy outside my window. I saw him just before you came down from the attic.
You saw him out your window? No!
I'm cold. It's written backwards as if
He was standing outside on the window ledge. Well, do you need any more convincing than that? You might want to give up on the boy, but I won't. If it's a fight she wants, it's a fight she's gonna get.
All right! All right. I'll try a cleansing. If you mean to stay, I can't in good conscience let you face this on your own. I have things in my car. I want us all to go down there together. I will go through the steps we need to follow before we re-enter this room.
What steps to follow?
I find it, when doing the cleansing, it is important to follow certain procedures that I have learned throughout the years.
You're the expert. Look, it's obvious that something is going on here now. we'd better get to the bottom of it sooner rather than later. Let's go help Antoinette get the things she needs from her car. This is starting to make me feel nervous.
These are the last 2 rooms. The door.
Still locked.
I guess Catherine doesn't mean us to cleanse the attic.
I don't even know why you came in here. Antoinette thought it best you stay downstairs.
Right. Downstairs. Alone. While you guys are up here.
Why not stay in town then?
This time of night, it's hardly likely she'd find an inn that's open.
Probably wouldn't help anyway. Spirits have been known to follow people to different places.
You're kidding.
On the contrary, there are many documented cases of spirits following people. Sandra Brown's grandfather, for one, followed her right to the hospital room.
But he was a good spirit.
Good or bad, it happens. Listen, since we don't have access to the attic, I suggest we start with this room. Julian, the tape recorder, is it on?
It's right here, yes.
Good. Kylie, the sea salt. I want you to spread it on the door saddle to the attic, the window ledge, in the hallway. You have the holy water?
Right here.
All right. Well, are we ready? I have a feeling that this room is going to be harder to cleanse than the rest of the house. Catherine, and any other earthbound spirit, I want you to move on. You no longer inhabit this place, and it's time for you to leave. Bless this house, O Lord, and continue to hold its children in your arms. All right. Come and join hands and say the Lord's Prayer with me. Come on. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us.
Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom,
and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
I feel a chill. Do you feel that chill?
Yes.
Try the attic door again, Julian.
It still won't budge.
All right, Catherine. Damn it. Catherine, it is time for you to move on and to leave this house to its new inhabitants, to enjoy and prosper. Spread some holy water on the door.
Did you hear that? I thought I heard a voice.
Yeah, me too.
It was a voice. Julian, the recording. Play back the last part.
I think it's broken. Or our voices.
You're not going to hear our voices. It's set to record higher frequencies, like a Dodge whistle. There's a switch that will slow down and amplify the recording.
I can't make it out.
I can. Zed, run away.
Well, I guess we're going up.
Oh, it looks like it.
I think Sheila should stay here since this room has already been blessed. It'll be safer.
I'm not afraid.
Good. It's important that you don't show fear, but I want you to stay here. Don't worry. We won't be long. God knows I don't want to be up there any longer than I have to.
I can't.
Jules, what's wrong?
I can't breathe.
He's hyperventilating. Girls, get him to the chair. Cup your hands over your mouth and breathe slowly, Julian. You'll be all right.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I can't go in the attic. None of us should.
Julian?
I'm sorry. I'm so thirsty. I need...
It's okay.
Drink.
It's okay. Just somebody get him some water. Kylie, you and I will go. Grab the holy water, sweetie. Come on. It's all right.
It's okay.
I'm with you. We'll be right there. Let's go.
I'm sorry, Sheila. I can't go in the attic. Not right now. None of us should.
The dreams, Jules?
I didn't want to mention it before, but that feeling of dread I got when I used to look at the house in the dream, well, I tried to put it out of my mind, but I got it the moment I set eyes on this place. I'm so sorry, Sheila. I can't go in the attic. None of us should be going up there, Sheila. None of us.
I understand. Come on. Go get a glass of water and bring me back a glass.
So, okay.
Okay. Oh, not okay. Is that you, Adam? Don't be afraid, I'm here. Julian, are you there? The door's locked. Catherine, I'm not afraid of you. You leave that boy alone. Do you hear me? You're not wanted here. You don't belong here. Are you okay? Open the door. We're locked in. I can't. She won't let me. Where's Julian? Jasmine. She's on the window. She wants me to join her.
Go near that window. Leave him alone.
I can't. She locked the whole door too.
Where's Julian?
He went for some water.
Damn you.
I'm not afraid of you, Catherine. And I'm not leaving this house. And as long as I'm here, he won't hurt that boy. Do you understand? I won't let you hurt him. Now go away. And get away from that window. Jill! I think so. She's gone now.
What happened?
Out there, the window, I heard the church bells. Julie went to get a drink of water, and then she appeared.
It's not bad anymore. I think it's over now.
No, it's not. This door is locked. She's not done with us yet.
Jules,
What happened here?
you didn't see her?
See who?
Catherine.
I didn't see anybody.
Oh, well, we did.
How did you get in the attic, Julian?
Well, I was in the bathroom getting a drink of water, and that's when the door slammed shut, locking me in, and I heard the screams from down the hallway. So I climbed out the window to see if I could find another way in. I found the attic window above me was open, and I found that diary hidden away in the eaves.
Diary? There's a name, but it's all faded. Elizabeth?
Wasn't one of the twins named Elizabeth?
How intriguing.
He was.
What is?
Don't you see it's a pattern? Nothing here is happening by accident. Listen, the last place you wanted to be was in that attic, Julian. So what happens? You are forced up there through an open window.
Where I accidentally find that diary.
Somebody wanted us to find it. The clue to everything that's happening here is in there.
Well, have you found anything yet?
Nothing significant.
Skip to the last entry.
172. We can see Pastor Campbell coming across the meadow for our stepbrother. We must find a safe place to hide Adam. I fear for the child's safety. God help us all if the pastor finds this diary too.
Pastor Campbell? Wasn't Adam's last name also Campbell?
They said the boy was their stepbrother, the child of the pastor and Catherine, I take it.
Why did he take the boy from his mother if Catherine was indeed his mother?
To keep a dirty little secret. The pastor couldn't have it getting out that he had a child out of wedlock. He would lose his ministry.
So the legend was wrong? It wasn't Catherine trying to hurt him. It was the pastor trying to take him back to that awful orphanage.
Catherine did not keep those girls here as a punishment. She kept them here to protect them from the pastor. He had a dirty little secret, and Catherine was the only other person who knew it. He wouldn't try anything with witnesses. There's safety in numbers. If Adam actually was the son of Catherine, of course she would go and visit him as often as possible until he was old enough to come here and play with his sisters. It wouldn't take them long to figure out that he was their brother. It's hard to hide the love a mother has for her son.
And it wouldn't surprise me if a year later, when the twins were at town, the pastor came back to accidentally eliminate the only other witness.
Catherine's fall was from the same window as Adam. Pastor Campbell wasn't stupid. He probably suspected that the girls knew something and came back to look for some evidence. I'd venture to say that he gave this room, including the attic, a good once-over once the coast was clear.
But what happened to the twins, Ellen and Elizabeth? When the pastor killed Catherine, what happened to them?
Antoinette?
They met the same fate as Catherine, I'm afraid.
That would explain why that's the last entry.
Could it have been the pastor's evil you were feeling rather than Catherine's? Oh, wait. If she wanted us to find out, why was she telling us to run away?
She wasn't telling us to run away. She was telling Adam to leave this house to protect him from the pastor.
Well, is she gone? Is she gone forever?
I don't know. The malevolence was so strong. You know, it's... Maybe now that she's warned us, that she can finally rest in peace. It's hard to understand why they just sometimes won't leave.
I'm not following.
You have to remember that what we're dealing with is human beings in a different form. And while we're afraid of them, they're just as afraid of us, afraid to move on to the next level of existence. When someone dies naturally, they're usually prepared to go on. And they see a loved one or a relative on the other side. Usually it's their mother.
Sandra Brown's grandfather again.
Exactly. But when someone dies suddenly or by accident, then they must cling to the existence they once knew.
Well, gone or not, I'm up for putting this place up for sale and taking my lumps financially.
Certainly something to consider.
Open. Let's get out of this room.
Bells again.
Wait. There's someone here with us.
Not Catherine.
No. It's Adam. And he's at the window.
Why is he here? Why didn't he go with
I
Catherine?
don't know, but he's very frightened.
Oh, God. I feel a draft. It's so cold.
Coming from the attic?
No, the hallway.
Kylie, the holy water, please. Leave this house, Pastor Campbell. The boy is under our protection now. It's time for you to leave. Move on. Quick, join hands, pray now. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, and we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Again, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Ah!
work, Antoinette.
Now you believe, Julian?
So much so that there's a missing persons cold case that happened a long time ago on Long Island I'd really like to discuss with you.
I know.
This is the last place I thought I would find you this morning.
I was just cleaning some stuff up. Looks like we're in for a few more raindrops. Where are Kylie and Antoinette?
Downstairs, getting a bite to eat before we head out. Sheila, may I have a word with you?
Certainly.
Now that the mystery is over, are you ready to move back to civilization with me?
Well, now that the house is okay, I'd kind of like to give it a shot up here.
What is it that you think you found up here?
Well, hopefully peace and comfort. It's kind of like when I used to visit my grandparents at Lake Carmel. I'd lay in a hammock in the backyard and devour books in the afternoon, and at night you could look up at the night sky and see what looked like an infinite amount of stars. I've always missed that, Jules. I think that's what I've really been searching for.
I really admire you. You're the one person I know who truly knows what they want and then follows through with it. Follows their bliss. Do you know how rare that is?
You mean you finally figured out what you like about me?
I guess I've always known. It's a comfort level I have around you. Something I don't feel with anyone else. You put me at ease, make me strive to... How do I put this?
Be more responsible? Finally face your demons?
I think it's time we dump the rest of that bottle. I should probably turn over a new leaf, too.
Oh, Jules. I'm so happy to hear you say that. I guess you'll just have to come up and show your face a little more often.
Well, if living out here makes you that happy, I guess I'll just have to retire and move out here with you. I am pretty resourceful. After all, I helped you solve your ghost problem.
You'd give up your career, your promotion, just to be with me?
Well, I could start a new career. Ghost hunter. Well, why not? I've got a good pension coming, and I'm certainly young enough to get another job if I need to. You could always paint.
Why don't we, take things slow and see what develops?
Hey, you two. Who's ready for some breakfast? Antoinette made some eggs. Scrambled medium.
That is possibly the worst pun you've ever made.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to keep things livened up around here.
What was that?
It's coming from the attic.
Well, we better make sure. Antoinette, can you come out here for a second?
I'll go have a look.
Jules, are you sure you want to go back up there again so soon?
Don't worry. Antoinette said there's nothing to be frightened of anymore.
What's happening?
Noises from the attic. Jules went to go check it out.
Well, I mean, if one good thing came out of this, his attic phobia is cured.
Go on! Get out of here! You don't belong here! must have left the window open when I crawled in last night.
Now you're in real trouble. Once they get in, they never leave.
So, how about breakfast?
Well, we have to eat. We're not ghosts, you know.
You two go ahead. We'll be right behind you.
Sure. Who are we to interfere in true love?
True love.
Yeah, it's a phenomenon even I can't explain.
You know, I think after everything that's happened this weekend, we're meant to be together. I think Antoinette was right. We all had to be here to help them move on.
And to help us move on. I'm just so glad that Adam is finally safe.